So yeah, today we're gonna talk about these conspiracy theories type of deal. All right, to start off with, these people that say it's not true and try to discredit truth is only, you know, lying to themselves because, you know, they're angry because it is true and they're trying to make the truth look like fantasy because in reality these people are agents. These are the agents everyone talks about. That's what agents do. They try to discredit truth because they're the ones that work at these Mason, Illuminati, NASA, the government type deal. All right. Yeah. So these people in this video are the shills and are the ones that would discredit the truth because they're the ones that are hired. They're the top leaders there. Okay. They try to intimidate and use science or call them us people that believe in this have mental disorders or some shit like that. Um, we fucking don't. And you try to intimidate us also by making the truth look like it's silly. Like you say, like Martians coming to kill us or some shit like that. No, it's not like that. It's more deeper than that shit. You see, they try to make comic relief out of us. Basically, in these two videos, I want to show you. I've attached this thing. So yeah, like I was saying, guys, they use satire to make our point look like it's stupid, but it's not. They think that we believe everything that's thrown at us. No, we don't believe anything. All right, we have proven that it's a conspiracy and it's legit. All right, we're not stupid like you idiots think we are. Um, and then you say that we're like demented, right? We don't have any disorders. No, we'll use logic, and you just don't like it. You're the type of asshole that sits behind the TV and listens to the news and believes everything that's said. You are the sheep, and we are the wolves. We eat you sheep, basically. All right. But yeah, and all these people that you make fun of are legit. You're just angry because they outsmarted you. These people are shills. All right. These people are the top agents. I'm telling you, these are what type of agents look like. You see, like I was saying, they try to intimidate the truth. Make it look like it's funny. Make up excuses like we have some mental disorder. Try to make the truth look stupid. I mean, come on, that is all. Um, yeah, it's been proven. I mean, I've been saying this for like long time ago. I've been saying this shit for a long time ago, but now like in these videos, it's been proven. They try to make us look stupid. Basically, I mean, they're paid to do this. All right, and they want us to be angry about it, so we comment. They can make money off us. They get paid for our comments when we comment on their videos, and so I'm making a video instead of them making fun of them. These people are the ones that are retarded. These ones that have mental issues. They're the ones that will believe anything that's given towards them. They're the ones that believe in TV, and the government runs that TV. They're the sheep, and we eat sheep. We're the wolves, and we don't like sheep. And then they're gonna get slaughtered, and then they're gonna like, hey, we need help here. No, no, we're like, no, you had your chance when you made fun of us. All right. I hope you enjoy these videos, and we don't have to prove shit to you. All right. You look up the research, you do it yourself. So don't ask for some, proof. Either way, because you know what we're saying is true anyway. You probably already seen proof anyway, and you just want to say it. I don't want to hear your fucking bullshit. All right. If you really want proof, all right, let me start you off with MK Ultra mind control. All right, look up that shit and look up some music videos that have satanic imagery in there. You'll see it. Well, yeah, you won't probably believe in that shit. So fuck you anyway, because you believe any shit that's thrown at you. That's all. So you're not legit. So yeah, at least we people see the truth, and you're the ones that can be brainwashed sheep, because you're the ones that agents are. You're agents. Are always gonna be agents, you guys. Peace. I hope now when they attach the videos, this is just a response beforehand. All right. Remember, guys, they try to make the truth look stupid. That's what they're paid to do. We're not delusional. They're delusional. They're the ones that should seek help. Peace. Enjoy these clips and make fun of them as well when you're watching them.
I've spoken in the past about how social media can be a breeding ground for pseudoscientific misinformation, and now there is a brand new study that also claims to look into the Facebook echo chamber that conspiracy theorists live in, and the researchers are claiming that it's so bad that these conspiracy theorists can't even tell when they're being made fun of. Italian researchers demonstrated this by looking at thousands of users who commented on either science news pages or conspiracy theory pages. And what they found was that the people who commented on conspiracy theory pages, by and large, did not interact with any other kinds of pages. So that's that echo chamber effect that we've talked about before. But the fun part of the study came next when the researchers posted nearly 5,000 troll comments to both the science pages and the conspiracy pages. And in these comments, they tried to make completely ridiculous, unsubstantiated rumors that could really only be taken as satire of the conspiracy theories. So, for instance, one of them was the idea that chemtrails, which are more sanely known as contrails, that's the water vapor clouds that form after airplanes sometimes in the right conditions, chemtrails have been chemically analyzed and found to contain Viagra. So yes, the government is dosing the public with boner pills. The researchers found that compared to the users of the science pages, the conspiracy theorists were much, much, much more likely to like and share those unsubstantiated comments. In other words, they couldn't actually tell the difference between satire and quote-unquote real conspiracy theories. But here's the thing, I also can't differentiate between those two things. When I read the headlines originally about how scientists have proven that conspiracy theorists will believe anything, even the most ridiculous made-up things, I really thought that the researchers were going to go above and beyond to come up with something ridiculous. But if you think that clouds of Viagra are ridiculous, you don't know what conspiracy theorists actually believe about chemtrails. I've done a video on this before. They actually believe that you can dissipate chemtrails 5 miles in the sky by filling up a squirt bottle with vinegar and spritzing it above your head. That's what they actually believe. So why wouldn't they believe that there's Viagra in the air? One of the other obviously false rumors that the researchers came up with was the idea that a free energy machine has been created, which I'm pretty sure is reported on conspiracy theorist websites at least once a week. So if you want to test whether or not conspiracy theorists will believe in absolutely anything, regardless of the truth, you're going to have to work really hard to come up with more ridiculous things than what you could find in the average Alex Jones post. We're talking about people who literally believe that the world economy is controlled by lizard people. Actual lizard people. Do we really need to spend the time and money on scientific studies to determine whether or not they can tell when we're making fun of them?
Alright, so we talked about the logic and rationale and some of the absurdity behind all of these conspiracy theories, in particular the New World Order one. But now let's talk about the conspiracy theorists themselves. They're every bit as absurd and kooky as all these grandiose things they claim to believe. Now here's the thing. First and foremost, there are not a lot of these people out there. Granted, there's some, probably a whole lot more than you wish, but if you just kind of gauged everything you know about conspiracy theories by what you see on the internet, you would think that 98% of the planet is an Alex Jones supporter. When the reality is, no, it's not. They're actually a very small fringe community that have given themselves the illusion of prominence by incessant internet activity. More or less, these people are just nerds with no lives. They're trolls that sit around all day going on YouTube, thumbing down videos, and harassing others because it gives them the sensation of political or social activity. So yeah, basically they have nothing better to do, and they don't have anything else to do in their lives. Basically, if you just take away the conspiracy theory, if you take away this whole NWO rabble-rousing stuff from them, they don't have a point to their lives anymore. They're hopeless. What would they focus their time on? What would they have to believe in? Absolutely nothing. The fact of the matter is, if you wonder why people are into conspiracy theories, it's because they need them. It gives them a sense of heightened importance. It gives them an excuse for the failings of their own lives, and it helps them kind of mask their own miserableness. There's a great quote I found here from a guy who wrote from the New York Times named Roger Cohen, who says that conspiracy theories are the ultimate refuge of the powerless, and I am paraphrasing here. Because if you cannot change your own life, it must be that some greater force controls the world. And in that, you're seeing a lot of parallels between the whole conspiracy theory and hardcore religious communities. In fact, there's actually a lot of crossover. I apologize. They pointed a DARPA missile at me and scrambled my brain, so I couldn't say it. But we'll talk about that later. So anyway, before we start talking about conspiracy theorists and their social behaviors, let's talk about a guy named Max Weber. And he was a guy who came up with an idea called the three-component theory of stratification. And basically what that means is humans in society, we're after three things. We're after class, status, and power. And when you look at that, and you look at these conspiracy theorists, you realize something. Conspiracy theorists are very, very marginalized people that don't have class, status, or power. They don't have money, they don't have popularity, and they have virtually zero social influence whatsoever. So I think really in a lot of ways, all this conspiracy theory stuff is actually sort of a reaction to that marginalization process. That's kind of their way of giving themselves an individual power source through a secret knowledge that others don't have, particularly the mainstream culture, which they have an unabashed hatred of because they feel left out. More or less, that's kind of why. Unless they have like some really deep-seated political or religious extremism, which is probably the case, but like I said, more on that later. So when you look at guys like Alex Jones, and you look at guys like the Zeitgeist movement, and you look at guys like David Icke, after a while you realize that these guys are pretty much nothing more than secular televangelists. The same as guys like Jim Baker and Benny Hinn that are out, slapping people on the foreheads and telling them, the devil's been boiled out of them. They're just a bunch of hucksters. There are guys that are preying upon the sensitivities of individuals that feel very neglected. They're looking for anything in this world to hold on to. And they choose conspiracy theories, and these guys exploit the crap out of them. Alex Jones is the dude that makes millions of dollars a year off the paranoid delusions of people that really want to have some sort of, existential purpose to their lives. He's no different than, the Jack Van Impe's and who else? The Joel Osteens of the world. Actually, I know I feel like Joel Osteen, but, I'll talk about that. So there you go. There's just nothing more than an existential excuse. Now, let's talk about why conspiracy theories are detrimental to society. First of all, you got to talk about the illogical nature. They're very irrational. They're very ignorant. It's stretching the truth. It's promoting pseudoscience and pseudo-social science over reality. That's bad. I don't even have to say that, really. But another thing is, got to remember, these really aren't productive people that we're talking about. These are people where just in terms of economics, they never get real jobs. They never go to college because it's a giant Illuminati conspiracy. And they rarely pay taxes because they never leave their parents' house. Now, of course, there are some successful conspiracy theorists out there, but seriously, if you do a social profile of them, these people are not really what you would call the poster boys. And it is a largely male-dominated domain, I've noticed, which might be saying something as well. They're just not very successful people. And the more people you have believing in this stuff, the more marginalized, off-the-cusp, fringe people you'll have out there. And I think the entire economy as a whole suffers. So go back to promoting ignorance and refutation of real-world dynamics. We don't talk about that. But another thing that's really interesting to me is the whole social interaction disintegration going on here. If you look at these videos on YouTube, something very peculiar begins to become apparent. These are people that don't like to show their faces. They'll make like these really long, stupid, pointless, meandering, copyright infringing manifestos on Windows Movie Maker. but they won't actually do what I'm doing, where I'm looking you in the eye over the power of the internet and talking to you as an individual human being. That's called something called de-individuation, which is where they're losing themselves inside the giant social idea of this conspiracy theory. They're afraid to show their face. They're ashamed to be out in public. These are people that have major self-esteem issues. They're kind of afraid of their own individuality. And I think that's really bad because it's showing that they have a direct inability to communicate. And if you want to succeed in this world, you have to be able to communicate and talk to people and interact and get ideas across. And when your entire premise for life is everyone's being controlled by Martians that are pointing laser guns at all of the people that run Fortune 500 companies, you're not going to be able to do a job interview. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. And they're becoming a whole lot more technologically dependent, and once again, you're kind of losing a sense of their own humanity, and that's kind of a bad thing as well. And of course, the reality here, and let's just call it what it is, all these people have mental disorders. There are people, that are hyper-paranoid, they have schizoid conditions, they have aggressiveness disorders, they have extreme depression. I'm not saying that all of them do, but if you set them down and you flipped open a copy of the DSM-5 and you started looking at their behaviors, and you started checking things off, you'd realize a lot of these people, they have some deep-seated psychiatric issues. And as we all know, if people don't get treated for those, bad things happen. So anyway, my conclusion of sorts here to this meandering, pointless video, which will have no effect on society whatsoever, I got this thing called the equation of doom. And that's when you have three components, you add them up, and you have really, really horrible social system results. Number one, you have to have a deep-seated animosity towards society. People that hate everything about modern culture and society. Conspiracy theorists do. You have to have hyper-paranoia, an absolute disbelief in anything, or a belief in the incredibly absurd, complete rejection of reality. Conspiracy theorists have that. And of course, you have to have a convenient scapegoat, which you use an excuse to go around doing really stupid, ill-informed things. Not that conspiracy theorists have that in the New World Order. So once you add all these things up, pardon me, once again, those the DARPA radars hitting me again. Once you have all those three added up, I think you have a perfect mixture for people to either A, not do anything productive with their lives, or B, start doing things that are really destructive with the lives of others. So let's think about it. Conspiracy theorists, there are a lot of them that are dangerous kooks. Guys like Jared Loughner, the guy that put a bullet in Gabriel Giffords' skull, who was obsessed with the Zeitgeist films in the movies that said, the NWO controls the world and the Federal Reserve System is owned by, Jewish robots or whatever it is. Same thing with Timothy McVeigh, who was a pre-internet supporter of the whole New World Order nonsense. So there's to say, people can use this as a social tool, I guess, for destruction. I'm not saying that's the case with all conspiracy theorists, but it's also quite ignorant to say, hey, there is some social interaction breakdown going on here, and it's bad. So, all of that going on, time to make sort of an ultimate analysis here. Should we give these people, in the absence of all demonstrable evidence, with no official documentation, whose ideas are a complete smack to the face of everything we know about reality, science, and the social sciences, any credence whatsoever? Absolutely not. And here's why. These are people that don't know what causation and correlation are. These are people that think that the Sandy Hook shooting is a conspiracy orchestrated by the international banking cartel or something else equally stupid, because they looked at photos of the Sandy Hook shooting and there were clouds in the sky. Or in The Dark Knight Rises, there was a scene where Aurora showed up on screen, not the fact that there's a giant sign in Singapore, or is it Hong Kong, that has the word Aurora, like on the waterfront. So anyway, they see this and they automatically say that is enough proof, which has absolutely zero connection to what they're actually talking about, to believe that this grandiose thing happens. That's not just a sign of poor logic, that's a sign of cognitive development disorders, because even a 5-year-old can have a better sense of causation and correlation than that. So if you're doing that, if that's the kind of leap you're making, then you have some serious cognitive problems going on. So everything kind of gets, broken down into childish reductionism. We're adults, but we all act like children, and we believe childish things, and we use childish modes of logic and reasoning to, address things, which is always bad. And at worst, these guys just have full-blown psychosis. I mean, really, they're, probably one delayed rent payment away from being those guys on the street you see holding signs, yelling at people on bikes that, JFK is still alive. And, never mind the fact that the rest of society, doesn't even give these ideas any support whatsoever. Think about this, when you look at something like, say, the Sandy Hook shooting conspiracy that's orchestrated by Barack Obama to take away guns. Here's the thing. There isn't a single politician in Washington, not even hardcore Tea Party people, that think that's what happened. There are no peer-reviewed journal articles or academics in the country, outside this one idiot in Florida, that thinks that's the case. There are no respectable media outlets or Fox News saying, hey, this is a conspiracy. So when you have no government documentation, no media documentation, no academic documentation, no documentation at all of what you're saying, and you claim it to be the truth when everyone else that has a whole lot more credibility than you doesn't, do the math on why we don't believe you. And so to conclude, I know what you're thinking, but old Jimbo, isn't it important to ask questions? And the answer is yes, it is very important questions, and you should question a whole bunch of things. Sorry, once again, DARPA radar. You should question everything, but there's not the most important thing that you can do. The most important thing you can do is not ask questions. What the most important thing you can do is what you choose to believe to be the answers. So yeah, it's important to ask questions, but I think it's even more important considering, the answers that you accept to be the case. Right?